Imagine going to sleep and never waking up. Not from a predator, not disease, not war, but because something thousands of miles away destroyed your world in minutes. Now imagine scientists finding your body 66 million years later and determining not just how you died, but the exact season, spring. This sounds impossible. Yet in North Dakota, at a site called Tanis, scientists discovered one of the most extraordinary fossil records ever found. Thousands of animals that died within a single hour on the very day the dinosaurs' world began to end. But that's only half the story. Later we'll visit another prehistoric graveyard holding over 1,000 dinosaurs. For decades, scientists thought they died in one catastrophe. The truth was far darker. This is the tale of two prehistoric death traps. One capturing the final moments of a world-ending disaster, the other revealing how desperation can turn a species against itself. Introduction: 66 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled the land. Then a nearly 10-kilometer-wide asteroid slammed into what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula with unimaginable force. The impact shook the planet, ignited the atmosphere, and collapsed ecosystems worldwide. Most know the asteroid story. Fewer know what happened next, thousands of kilometers away. The place called Tanis in what is now North Dakota. A peaceful river system flowed. Fish swam, reptiles hunted. Life continued normally, unaware that the asteroid had already struck. Within minutes, the consequences arrived. The shock wave arrives. The asteroid's seismic waves raced across continents and triggered a massive seiche, a violent sloshing of water in the river system. Trees were uprooted, sediment exploded upward. Animals were swept into a chaotic torrent of mud and debris. The landscape became a death trap in minutes. A discovery that shocked scientists. The most astonishing evidence came from inside the fish. Tiny glass-like particles, spherules of molten rock ejected by the impact, were trapped in their gills. The fish were still alive when this debris rained from the sky. Moments later, they were buried and preserved exactly where they fell. It was like a photograph of the day the world changed. The last spring of the dinosaurs. Even more remarkably, scientists determined the season of death by studying growth rings in the fish bones, similar to tree rings. The fish were still in active growth phase and showed signs of spawning and migration. They died in spring. This wasn't a rough estimate. It was precise. The asteroid struck during the northern hemisphere's spring, a time of reproduction, nesting, and vulnerability. Entire generations of young animals and unhatched eggs were lost instantly. The extinction hit harder because life was expanding. The last meal in the falling sky, some fish still contained their last meals. Burial was so rapid that digestion hadn't even finished. While they swam, molten debris was falling. The fish inhaled spherules moments before death. Scientists could reconstruct the disaster minute by minute. Tanis isn't just a fossil site. It's a prehistoric crime scene. Bodies piled together, trees ripped out, impact, debris preserved in place. No time for scavengers or decay, just instant burial. But an even stranger mystery awaits. Hundreds of miles away and 200 million years earlier lies Ghost Ranch in New Mexico, a mass grave containing over 1,000 dinosaurs. The dinosaur graveyard of Ghost Ranch at first, scientists thought it was another sudden catastrophe. But the evidence told a slower, darker story. The dinosaurs were mostly coelophasis, Lightweight, fast predators, about 3 meters long, that lived over 200 million years ago. The land begins to die. It started quietly. The rain stopped. Weeks turned into months of drought. Water sources shrank. Vegetation withered. Prey disappeared. The ecosystem collapsed from the bottom up. The evidence of desperation inside some adult Colaphasis rib cages. Scientists found bones of juveniles of the same species. For decades, debate raged. Was this cannibalism driven by starvation? The evidence suggests desperate times pushed these animals to turn on their own kind. As conditions worsened, survivors crowded around the last remaining water sources. Competition grew fierce. The flood, after months of drought, heavy rains finally came. Parched ground couldn't absorb the water. Flash floods tore through the area. Weakened, starving dinosaurs had little chance. Bodies were swept together and rapidly buried. Many skeletons remained articulated and intact, indicating they died near where they were buried. A snapshot of an entire struggling community, not scattered victims of long-distance transport. A frozen community. The site preserved young, juveniles, and adults together, an entire living population frozen in time. When excavated in the 1940s, the density of fossils astonished even veteran paleontologists. For decades, people thought Ghost Ranch was a simple flood story. The truth, the drought was the real killer. The flood was just the final chapter in a slow-motion disaster. 2 graveyards, 2 apocalypses, Tanis and Ghost Ranch, showed 2 faces of extinction. Tanis, sudden. Global catastrophe reached them in minutes. Ordinary lives interrupted forever during spring. Ghost Ranch, slow. Months of drought, desperation, possible cannibalism, then the final flood. One struck like lightning, the other crept in day by day. The real face of extinction, we often imagine extinction as a single dramatic moment, an asteroid, a volcano, a tidal wave. But the fossil record shows it can be instant or agonizingly gradual. Sometimes the deadliest threats are the ones you don't see coming until it's too late. The day the world changed. Picture the river at Tanis. Peaceful water, swimming fish, normal life. Then the ground shakes. Water erupts. Molten debris rains down. In minutes, everything ends. The animals never knew they were living through one of Earth's most pivotal days. The last days of Ghost Ranch. Now picture Ghost Ranch. Day after day of heat, shrinking water, vanishing food. The weak die first. The strong grow desperate. By the time the flood arrives, the real disaster has already occurred. Why these fossils matter? Fossils aren't just old bones. They are time capsules, stories written in stone. Tanis shows us how fast the asteroid's aftermath unfolded. Ghost Ranch reveals how environmental collapse slowly destroys ecosystems. They let us reconstruct vanished worlds through evidence, not myth. The strangest part, neither the fish at Tanis nor the dinosaurs at Ghost Ranch knew they were living through history. To them it was just another day, until it wasn't. That uncertainty connects us across millions of years. No one knows which ordinary day might become historic, a message from the past. For millions of years, these creatures lay silent. Then science uncovered their remains and let them tell their stories. Fish inhaling impact debris, animals buried in minutes, starving dinosaurs driven to desperation. The next time you hear about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, remember the tiny details. A single bone, a last meal, spherules and gills, growth rings marking spring. Because history isn't only giant events. Sometimes it's hidden in one frozen moment. Somewhere beneath our feet, countless more stories still wait to be discovered. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more journeys into Earth's extraordinary past, because the past is far stranger than fiction.